This next story may appear to be about puppets and opera, but it's really a story about one generation passing on a remarkable legacy to the next. This extraordinary handoff took place in what may seem like an unlikely location, a Park District building in northwest suburban Rolling Meadows. Jay Shevsky has the story.
The Rolling Meadows Park District has everything you'd expect. A pool, fitness classes, duplicate bridge on Mondays. But down in the basement, there's one thing no other park district can claim. A 60-seat theater with a resident puppet opera. It's called Opera in Focus, and it's been around since the mid-50s. Opera in Focus is owned and run by two brothers, Justin and Shane Snyder, who weren't even alive when it was founded.
And peek behind the curtain here.
Wow. Justin offered to show me around backstage.
This fellow here, this is Boris Godunov from the Russian opera. This is Mephistopheles from Faust.
There are more than 80 puppets in this basement, and they can be adapted to perform several hundred roles. Every puppet is handmade and has a level of intricate detail you may not notice from the audience. The Opera in Focus repertoire includes more than 100 scenes from operas, operettas, and musical theater. The 16-inch figures are a type of rod puppet operated from below, but the elaborate, patented mechanism is unique in the world. Will you show me how they work?
Certainly. They have a walking mechanism, which is this little lever in front here. When I turn this lever here, it will cause their legs to walk. If I pull the ring in front here, this causes the puppet to nod, controls the up and down motion of the head. The little lever in front here controls the side-to-side motion of the head to control the direction that they're looking. And also, they have a back mechanism here. This mechanism will take them back for those all-important operatic high notes.
Justin Snyder and his brother Shane played with puppets as kids, but they never expected that answering a want ad would lead them to run one of the most technically sophisticated puppet shows in the country.
This is my brother Shane here. He's our master puppet builder.
Nice to meet you.
In 2001, Shane was 20 and making custom Halloween masks for a living. His brother Justin was just out of high school and looking for a job. Shane had a car.
And I sort of came to drive him up here and check it all out, and really had no idea what to expect.
Shane says they were blown away by what they saw on stage. But more than that, the brothers felt an immediate bond with the creator of Opera in Focus, Bill Fosser. Bill would become their teacher, mentor, and, they say, their best friend, even if he did give Justin a hard time when he first applied for the job.
Well, I came here and I told him that I wanted to work here as a puppeteer, and he laughed at me. And the reason is he said that everybody that works here, you have to be a lot more than just a puppeteer. You have to learn the control console, you have to learn how to sculpt things, how to paint things, how to build things. So we're kind of like all-purpose evil henchmen here. Nobody that works here is just a puppeteer.
Bill Fosser learned puppetry as a teenager in the 1940s when he joined the legendary Kungsholm Puppet Opera in Chicago. He started Opera in Focus in 1958. This video of Bill is from the mid-90s. Bill made his living as a set designer and art director for Hollywood films like Ordinary People, Home Alone, and Backdraft. But his passion was opera, and Opera in Focus. In the mid-50s, he invented this unique mechanism.
Can I try it?
Sure.
Let's see. If I pull.
That's the nodding mechanism.
Hello there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to say, I mean, moving this
is fun, but moving it the way you guys move it sounds impossible to me.
The tricky thing, it's kind of like learning a musical instrument. Like you start off learning all these basic things, like this is the head and this is the hand. But the real goal of turning it into an instrument of art is taking something that's inanimate and breathing life into it.
And you have to sort of forget about yourself and pretend that you're this other character that has, you know, feelings, and you have to sell that to people. And I think that's the hardest part about it, is to get that emotion across into the puppet from underneath the stage.
For I compose the music of the night.
To do that, they and the other two puppeteers must memorize the libretto and the translation, because 90% of the scenes they do are not in English, and they do 40 different scenes a year.
To guard you and to guide you.
When Justin and Shane came to Opera in Focus in 2001, they joined a team of artists and craftsmen that had been together for years.
And everything that we learned about the actual art of puppetry, we've learned from Bill and Paul and Will, the men who were here before us, and they, you know, passed their knowledge down onto us.
We were like family. Even when we weren't here performing, we were at Bill's house building things, or we would go to the opera with Bill a lot, and so they never felt like employers to us. They became right off the bat like our second fathers and grandfathers and things like that.
After 5 years of training, Justin and Shane were finally expert at all aspects of running Opera in Focus. Then, in 2006, Bill Fosser developed congestive heart failure and died at age 77. The other main puppeteer, Paul Guerra, died the following year. Bill Fosser's highest priority was to keep Opera in Focus going, and he managed to train his successors just in time. He left the puppet opera to his young protégés, but he also left them with one almost unbearable requirement. If they ever close Opera in Focus, all of this must be destroyed. Bill told them that his worst fear was that it would all end up in a museum behind glass. The purpose of the puppets, he said, was to live and breathe, and he saw no use for them if they weren't performing. Justin told me they could never destroy a single puppet, so it just makes them even more determined to keep the art alive.
People tend to throw the word genius around rather loosely nowadays, but Bill Fosser was a real bona fide genius. He was a master of so many different art forms, which he combined into what you see here today is Opera in Focus.
And they say that now, every performance is ultimately a group of artists trying to make Bill Fosser proud.
The power of the music.
For Chicago Tonight, this is Jay Shefsky.
And you can see Opera in Focus live at the Rolling Meadows Park District most Wednesday and Saturday afternoons. This Saturday, they'll perform scenes from Madame Butterfly, The Wizard of Oz, West Side Story, and The Sound of Music. We have information about times and tickets on our website. Now, many of you may remember the Kungsholm puppet opera that Jay mentioned in this story. If you'd like to learn more about Kungsholm and see a photo slideshow, just go to our website and click on More on the Story.